Yo, 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 what up, everybody? It's your boy, Royce, the voice, Orange Click, Orange Leader. Shout out to K-Team. Speak your thoughts or lose your mind. And how is everybody doing today? Today, yes, it is. Every time I do this, I always forget the day. I always forget the day every time I do this. Every time. All right, it is Monday the 2nd. It is, not August. Is it May? It's May the 2nd. May the 2nd, 2022, man. You know what I'm saying? Spring is officially here. Summer is definitely on its way. It's been a hot day. It's been a rainy day here, you know what I'm saying, here in Tennessee. But it's also been a good day. It's been a productive day. But we have a very exciting evening, you know what I'm saying? And first, before I get into it, man, I want to shout out to everybody that's been following, everybody that's been sharing, everybody that's been supporting, everybody that's been, you know, giving us the stars and stuff like that, everybody that's been recapping even if they couldn't watch it live, because I know some of the b-ball games is on right now. My Memphis Grizzlies lost by 1 point, but it's all good. But during this podcast, you can support my page by sending stars, a digital gift that helps keep everything on the go. What's up? All right, Trey Addict, Adcock, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I almost called him officer, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to blow your cover, man. But good dude, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for tuning in, man. Please share this, man. Everybody, please share this, man. Shout out to Mr. Tomlin there, you know what I'm saying, who's running for sheriff also. And we got another important guest coming on next week, but, we'll tell that later after the show. But now that I got that out of the way, after I thanked y'all for everything that y'all done for us, you dig what I'm saying? We have an interesting show today. We had a very interesting show today. And let me clarify, you know what I'm saying, some things real quick, you know what I mean? I don't know. We've had shows. We've had shows about abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse. We've had shows on, emasculating the men. We've had toxic masculinity is what they call it. We've had shows from the LGBTQ to politics to comedians to producers. You dig what I'm saying? But today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about mental health, right? But this is just not any mental health. You dig what I'm saying? As y'all see within the title, right? The title says, Black men need therapy too. You dig what I'm saying? What's up, Angela Sorrell from California? You already know what it is. Black men need therapy too. I'm glad I put two O's on the two, because usually I slip and just have one. But black men need therapy too. Now, I will make a disclaimer. This is for all men to listen. But the reason why I said black men need therapy too is really for this young lady that's to the right of me or to the left of y'all, however y'all looking at the screen, who I'm going to formally introduce here. I'm going to say formally, who I'm going to properly introduce here. You dig what I'm saying? So the reason why I named it Black Men Need Therapy Too is because this young lady that I have next to me, she goes by on IG, Ashlee B. You know what I mean? Ashlee B is a therapist, but not just any therapist. And we're actually going to get into that a little bit later, because if I tell you now, then I kind of spoil the thing. So we're going to stick with the general right now, and we're going to bleed into what she does. Okay. Ashlee, she is from Arizona, if I'm correct. Just nod your head, say yes before you say hi. She is from Arizona. As you see, the sun is still shining on her window, and it's dark over here. So she's about, a 2-hour difference in the time zone with us. You dig what I'm saying? We've been peeping her out for the last couple of months and looking at the moves that she's made and the people that she's helped. You dig what I'm saying? But Miss Ashlee, she actually specializes in therapy, but emphasizes in therapy with black men. Now, I know that's like whoa, what you mean black men? The black men don't do no therapy? What you talking about? Black people don't do therapy. We don't do that. That's what, that's what everybody else does. You know what I'm saying? They the ones that get their mind right, you know what I'm saying, and come out good and no worries and, walking and jogging at 4:00 in the morning, right? But no, black men, we don't do that stuff. What are you talking about? Therapy? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about it, but I also want people to know, and I want some men to, this show's for the men tonight, you know what I'm saying? But for ladies to understand. And this is for all the men with the emphasis in black men, because we want everybody right now to understand black men. And I think this month is Mental Awareness Month, if I'm correct. Okay, look at me staying up on my stuff. All right. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we got Ashlee B in the building, man. Go ahead and bring her in. What's good? Oh, she's already here. What's goody? How you doing today?
Yeah, it's Ashlee B. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing just fine. A little hot in this Long John sweater. You know what I'm saying? It really should be a Long John, but it's a shirt. It really is a shirt, y'all. I got the sleeves rolled up. This is not a Long
It
John.
looks good.
It's Long John
Got the
material.
hat,
You know what
got
I'm
the
saying?
chain.
You dig what I'm saying? Now, welcome to the show, Ashlee. Welcome to the show. We are glad to have you here. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some good questions, some challenging questions, man. And we kind of all want to leave here with an understanding on what everything is, and leave it to the people. At the end of the day, what they want to do, because this is really what it's all about. About the people to learn, gather information, and they decide what they want to do, with their lives. But I hope we all come together and just understand what direction we're going. Are we going positive or are we going negative? You know what I mean? Are we going left or we going right? And we about to find out. All right. So, Ashlee, first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sacrificing your time to be on this show for an hour and some change. And man, what's it like in Arizona right now? What's going on?
Very calm,
Very
very
calm.
crowded.
Really?
Yeah, it's like people are really enjoying life. They're not in quarantine anymore. People are just being social. A lot of bars, new sort of nightlife places are opening, and people are just out and about and enjoying being around each other again and seeing each other's faces. And it's a beautiful thing. I will say that it's getting crowded because people are just pouring in, moving from places that they're getting priced out of, like California, Washington.
Mm,
So our rent and our mortgage and everything is going up, and
mm,
that is a bummer.
mm.
But you just roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, same for us too. We got a lot of people from the West Coast coming down into Tennessee because they were talking about like the taxes and the yeah, like the taxes are high as hell over there. And they said, "I'm coming to Tennessee. Don't come over here. Y'all gonna raise the
Right?
taxes over
That's what
here.
I'm saying. Like, take yourself over there. You
We
better
doing
fix your
fine."
stuff before you come here
Yeah,
and mess
yeah.
us up. Yeah.
Like, hold up, yeah. But so yeah, coming all the way from Arizona, you guys, and we're gonna talk about black men needing therapy, and I think just on a serious tip, I think that's something that all black men need. It has become a stigma of some sort for black men. There's been parodies about it. We've seen sitcoms and shows about it. It's just something we don't deal with. We're supposed to keep it all here, keep it all on the inside. You know. So let's just start off with this first question, all right? And I'll let you answer it because I was almost about to because I'll be getting in my rant.
Okay.
Why does your expertise emphasize black men instead of all men?
Yeah, great question. So I've been in my practice since 2019, and at the jump, I was always focused on helping anyone and everyone. That was, my passion has always been to help people, and so um, that was what I kind of how I established my practice. But the moment I decided to go into this line of work, I knew that I wanted to help the Black community specifically because I had heard so many of my friends, my family members, my caregivers, talk about their struggles with their abusive upbringing, with their vice and addiction, with their depression, with their insecurities. But the message over and over again was, like you said, was like, we don't go to therapy, or I don't want my business in the street, or my ancestors, they survived slavery, we can survive this, or you know, just man up, or just be tough, or there was just, or this is just life, this is just how it is, and life is hard and you have to deal with it. So there was or I'll just go to church and pray, or I'll just drink, or I'll just smoke weed. And there was just so much pain. And I myself had struggled with rage and depression and addiction, and I was tired of it. And I got through it with a particular therapy, and it freed me, and I was happier, I was more ambitious, I was more confident in my abilities, and that led me to going from being destitute in my depression and social anxiety to thriving, being financially free and stable. And because it turned my life around, I was like, wow, I see that when you invest in yourself and when you invest in your mind, magic can happen. And I want my family and my friends and people of color, people that look like me, that are hating on therapy, to know that there are solutions, that they can thrive, that they can be happier, they can break generational curses. It is possible. And I wanted to dedicate myself to it. But later in the show, I'll say specifically something happened in pop culture that kind of thwarted my ability to thrive in that space of people of color. And so I opened my doors to just anyone. And what I realized since 2019, my ideal client has been men and Black men who are looking to release rage and trapped emotion. And they're looking to do this because they want to either excel in their career, have healthier relationships, or they're just tired of feeling that weight of the world on their shoulders. And so this is a complex question for me right now, because just looking back on my life, there's so many moving parts that have built to this moment. It's not just one thing that made me decide this, right? So Black family, family members that were struggling, and I wanted to help them. I wanted to help everyone. I'm just a people pleaser, not people pleaser, people helper. But ultimately, like I said, I had my own healing journey. And when I was on my own healing journey, I had male friends, boyfriends, family members that were struggling with the same thing I was: rage, addiction, toxic relationships, insecurities. And they would confide in me because they just knew that I was a safe space to talk to. And so on my own healing journey, and even through my practice, when I was practicing and studying, I was like trying to share resources for these men in my life. And I would say, hey, this helps. This can help you overcome this addiction, this insecurity, this trauma, and all these things. And there was two things that could happen. One was like, nah, man, I don't deal with that. I'll deal with it myself. There was pushback. And sometimes so much pushback to the point where they would just shut me out of their life because they didn't want to even talk about being vulnerable in that way anymore. I had opened a can of worms, apparently. Or they were open to it and the resources were marketed towards women, or they were marketed towards men, but the resources for men were not very inclusive, and they didn't want to be the token Black guy. And so they, even if they were willing to do that, it would be uncomfortable because, if they would say, hey, I'm stressed out because of racism, they would be like, oh, racism, that's thing, just get over it. You're stronger than that. Their feelings would not be validated in that area. So after a lot of research, out of a lot of experience, and a lot of just like looking at data, just really myself being frustrated that there were not a lot of resources, traditional or holistic resources for men to seek this type of healing, this radical transformation. It was disheartening. And I really knew that they were underserved, and that Black men were underserved in this arena. And I see how that played out in their anxieties. Like statistics show things of how like suicide is higher for men, incarceration is higher for men, illness, mental health is higher for men, but they're less likely to go to therapy or ask for help because of the stigma. And so what I decided is finally, I knew over a long time ago that I needed to do this, and I just didn't do it because I was like, like you said, men don't go to therapy. That's not sustainable for my business. But I was like, whatever, I need to do this. I want to do this. My passion is now to help end the stigma for men to go to therapy and to know that they can get the healing that they're looking for, and to know that it's okay to express your emotions and really just serve this community that's underserved so that they can thrive and be more successful and have the healthier relationships that they're craving.
That sounds, look at that. There go the hand claps right there. There go the hand claps. Shout out to the Samoan Watcher. I saw you peep up in there, man. Dude look like the dude off of, what's that, Milan? What's that, Moana? You're welcome. That dude, boy. I feel you, homie. What's up, man? Thank you. Thank you for the YouTube people, man. I don't know how you share on YouTube, you feel what I'm saying? But if you can, please do that, bro. But thanks for the like. Thanks for the subscription and all that, man. Shout out to you. You know what I'm saying? So what you were saying, so it's kind of like, I can kind of put like an analogy together in a way that, like, all right, I've always been frustrated sometimes, like when I go to the store, like for the clothing store. And you know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be a clothing store for men and women, right? And they got a men's section and they got a women's section. And you see the women's section is just like right in your face. They got left, right, up and down. They got secret cubby holes, and then you see the men's section over there in the corner. And it's like, man, wait a minute. Why do y'all stop at shoe size 10? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You feel what I'm saying? They got everything on the women's side. And, nothing is when we know women, y'all know y'all like to accessorize and organize and, it's cool. But, men like to look sharp too. I know we're simple, but like we want some variety too. You know what I mean? So it even goes down to that. Like when you think about shopping for clothes and stuff, it's like all the way down to having options on wearing different stuff. That can mess with you psychologically too, right? Because you don't want to go now we got to go to another store somewhere else. You know what I mean? And usually places that have stuff for all men, it ain't really the gear that we want. The fly gear be with the women, but it'd be too small, not enough. You know what I mean? Shout out to BJ, man. Hope everyone's having a good night. Good night, yes sir, already. You know what I mean? So, okay, so that kind of leads into my next question then. So since you you have a desire and you have a love to help black men, which is first of all, let me say, is very grateful. Thank you very much. You know what I'm saying? We do need more of that. You feel what I'm saying in our black communities. You dig what I'm saying? That is definitely a stigma in our black communities. We don't like to talk. We're hush hush about everything, and we run away with our problems to ourselves, and we end up blowing up on somebody. You know what I mean? I've been a victim and a suspect. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. So being that you do this, being this is what you emphasize, like what are some of, like, let's just say, like, give me like some of the top three things that men come to you about. What do we stress out about the most? What have you heard the most?
So the first one that comes to mind is the loss of a loved one. So, like you said, men are taught from a very, well, we didn't say this, but essentially, men are taught from a very young age to just be a man. They fall and scrape their knees as little boys, and a caregiver, a parent comes over and says, "Oh, don't cry, men don't cry, big boys don't cry." And, that's just one example, but that message is reinforced over their lifetime. And so they learn how to suppress their emotions, be tough, hide their feelings. And for the most part, the mind is brilliant and men are brilliant at being able to do that and being able to make it seem like that's okay and just have fun and shrug it off and laugh it off and go in Vegas for a weekend and blow off some steam. But when you lose a loved one, and you are stifling those emotions, eventually that's going to catch up with you. And that's what I see most of my clients come to me, where they're just like, look, this is gnawing at me. I can't be productive. I can't be present in my relationships. I'm popping off on people. I can't keep smiling anymore. I need a release. I need to learn how to cope with this. I can't man up through this. And that is when they come to me for a subconscious, emotional, physical healing release, to cope and to be able to get closure and to understand that that's okay. So, and then they're like, okay, yeah, I don't have to be a man right now. I can be a human right now. And this is a safe space and I feel good about it. So that's number one. The second one is that they understand that their career is about to level up. They've been working really hard on gaining success. Athletes come to me, musicians, holistic healers, very people from various walks of life. But they put a lot of their heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears into their career. But once they get to a certain point, they either find themselves self-sabotaging or they find themselves facing a fear of failure, a fear of success. And that fear, those emotions are keeping them stagnated, keeping them stuck in their place. And they understand that they don't want that fear or insecurity to stop them from reaping the benefits of what they've worked so hard for to level up. And so we work through releasing that fear, being comfortable in that new level of success and stepping into their confidence, their power. So that is something that I get a lot of clients on. The third one is insomnia. So I know these things don't really seem like they tie together, and I'll show you how they tie together later on in the show. But they definitely, when you cannot sleep, or if you're not allowing your body to get rest, you're impacting your ability to think clearly. Your memory is impacted, your immune system is impacted, your judgment is impacted, you feel weaker, like especially if you are a father or have a busy career and you know that you have a lot on your plate and either your worries are keeping you up at night or you simply just fell into a habit of not being able to sleep and you're not sure why. Maybe you've gone to the doctor or you don't want to be on prescription drugs and you're looking for some sort of understanding mentally and emotionally of what is keeping you up. I have clients that come to me to kind of, one client said, assuage their mental chaos and just dial down that busy mind so that you can fall back in the habit of getting effortless sleep naturally without being dependent on prescription or things like that.
So like all these things, that they come to you with? Like, I gotta ask, though, real talk. This is just speaking, human to human. Like, out of all these things they come to you with, all these frustrations, this anger, the anxiety, all that. What about you? Like, how, you deal with so many people's stories and dialogues and stuff like that. Like, what are the difficulties of like being in your position? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you need therapy after dealing with everybody else? Because I can only imagine like what you heard. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
do you do it for yourself? Do you need to decompress after hearing everybody else's difficulties?
Real life.
Real life.
Real
Yeah, no,
life.
that's a good question. So I don't usually talk about this a lot, and I know this term is thrown around. It's kind of trendy, thrown around. It's a little trendy right now, but I'm an empath. So, and that just means like your ability to empathize with people is on overdrive. And what's interesting about humans is that they can kind of naturally pick up like when you're an empathetic person and they want to confide in you and they just like they're just kind of warm and fuzzy around you. They just want to tell you things. And so I say that because when I people have been telling me their life stories, and I don't want to say trauma dumping, that's kind of negative, but sharing things that are really heavy and traumatic and these sort of things since I was very young. I had parents, my friends, and even I can remember as early as fourth grade having my friends' parents come to me showing me marks on their arm where they had been cut, where they'd been cutting themselves and how they wanted to stop for their kids and just like really heavy stuff. And I would just be really understanding like, yeah, that's got to be hard. Like, and I would be the only person in my circle of friends that people would do that. And it did get to a point in maybe my 20s where I was like, you know what, I can't just be your friend just so you can have a therapist for free. This was before I was a therapist. And I can't just be everyone's go-to. And so, yeah, I've been used to it my whole life. And at some point I did learn how to set boundaries in my relationships with people. And then when it comes to my professional work, I'm just so thrilled to have clients like that and I'd be able to live my passion that I don't even see it now as like I'm listening to heavy stuff. I just see it like, wow, I get to like help this person release this,
So that's your
and
therapy
this
in a
is,
way, then. You can
yeah,
say
it
that.
is. It's like,
Yeah.
it's really, it's nice to know that they're going to sleep easier after our session, feel a little lighter and happier. And I get to sleep happier and lighter knowing that I'm fulfilling my passion. But empaths, if there's any empaths out there listening, you know that we do tend to absorb what people are feeling. So if they're sad, we kind of can feel that, or if they're happy, our empath is on overdrive. Like we have a physical reaction. What you're feeling, we're feeling.
Yeah.
And so there are resources out there. I didn't always know the term empath. This is something I've learned along my journey, but there are resources now that teach you how to shield, how to set that mental boundary to be able to show up for people, how to like do things like self-care. Like I'm a huge advocate for self-care, not because of the wellness, not only because of the wellness, but that allows me to decompress and recover and show up as my best self and let go of other people's feelings and emotions so that I can be present with my clients.
Hey, I mean, hey, it works for you. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's the
Yeah.
business, man. And of course, I'm gonna read BJ's question because BJ says, this is a question for you. He says, do you see a correlation between long-term psychological disorders caused by emotional suppression and those early negative enforcements of things like big boys don't cry and be a man? And I think you slick tapped into that a little bit when we first started, but he's being a little more specific about that question. How do you feel about that as you read it?
So yeah, so do you see a correlation between long-term psychological disorders caused by emotional suppression and those early negative enforcement of things like big boys don't cry? So if you're saying like if you have a psychological disorder like an anxiety disorder, can that be caused by those early negative enforcements? Is that what you mean? I believe that's what he means. If not, you can clarify. But
Yeah, he'll let you know.
most definitely, I do, because when you are a child and when you are kind of growing up until around age 8, you're a walking, talking subconscious mind. Your mind is just absorbing information, and that in your subconscious rolls up to 95% of your habits, your beliefs, your behavior, what you're attracted to sexually, physically, what you like to eat, what you're afraid of. So when you have early life experiences, especially if you are getting childhood messages like "just be a man, don't cry," that can definitely lead to something like a disorder, because it can just plant the seed of a narcissism or uh, an anxiety. And once those things go unchecked long term, they can develop into something more chronic, like a disorder, right? So, yeah, definitely, I feel like there's always a correlation with those early childhood experiences because your subconscious is being formed, that you're so ripe, you're just absorbing things like a sponge, and a lot of those things don't go unchecked for weeks, years, sometimes decades. Yeah.
BJ, I hope that answered your question. Yeah, he just said caused or amplified, I believe. I think he was asking that. Okay. No,
Oh
BJ.
yeah, they
Yeah.
can they can definitely amplify because um, you know, I can kind of get into it a little later, but
Mm-hmm.
everything's going to be amplified when whatever from your childhood experiences that happen later in life, they just compound unless you have the right coping tools to learn how to deal with them, or you're taking the right supplements or the right nutrition, or doing things synergistically that are going to help you assuage, like ease those symptoms of your disorder. They're going to go compound. Yeah.
I dig it. So, I was surfing through some of your stuff, you know what I mean? Especially like over the weekend. And I ran across something where, I guess I kind of developed this question based off a statement, you know what I'm saying? You had said, let's talk about conspiracy for a minute. All right. So, when it comes to black men, like, do you think that there's a conspiracy with black men? Like, and there'll be a segue question from that, but like, if you're catching my drift, like, do you feel that there is a conspiracy with black men? You feel there is an agenda, so to speak?
Um, oh, you mean against them or plotting against them?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and yeah, that can go a few different directions, but one mainly is the entertainment industry, and specifically rap music or music that is glorifying criminal behavior, animalistic sex, like primal type sex or promiscuity, the fuck the police mentality, and things that just glorify street life and like that's the only way that you can come up type situation. And do I listen to rap music? Yes, I've loved hip hop my whole life. I love um, I love Black culture, but I do understand that what you listen to over and over again, and what you listen to and recite, the words that you recite with emotion over and over again, those those affect your ideas. And the longer and more emotional that you're into it, those affect your beliefs, and your beliefs again affect your behavior, your outlook on life, your perception. Your beliefs are going to look at the world and all of the information that you're taking in, and it's going to cherry pick those things that align with your beliefs. So if we can get into that in a second, and they're going to dictate your relationships and what kind of work and career you're going to have and how you believe, your beliefs about money. And so I say that because a lot of times when we're listening to music, we are our most emotional selves. We're like, yeah, I'm gonna get that bag, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna shoot you. Da, 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 da. And like, if you're listening to music that is has hyper symbolism of like criminal activity, revenge, retribution, hurting somebody else, killing Black people, you're planting seeds and deep roots that those are your beliefs. That's your perception. And then you watch movies with Black characters that reaffirm that, and then your friends are doing that. So you've already created your own little microcosm of like what your reality is like, and not seeing what could be outside of that. And so why do I think it's a conspiracy? Because hip hop and Black music changed around the early 90s to have that symbolism kind of amplified. in a way. And when the further that you look back on what I do, like understanding the power of the mind, how the subconscious works, it seems really implausible that people in the head of the music industry that kind of are that work to master their mind don't know that when they invest in this music and put it on the airwaves and make it part of popular culture, that they don't know how that's going to influence a generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that, prisons are privately owned. A lot of prisons are privately owned. And so that means that they have investors that have their primary goal is to make money off of their investment. And so how do you do that? You do that by keeping people in prison. How do you do that? How do you keep people in prison? By teaching them that criminal life is good and making them an easy target so that they are kind of falling into this school prison cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always just kind of inherently felt like this could be true just because I know that there are such things as subliminal messages. I know that there's such thing as like programming, TV programming programs. People say programs your mind. But recently I saw a TED Talk. There was a white man who said he called radio stations like, would you be interested in music about killing animals? No. Would you be interested in music about killing women? No. Would you be interested about music and killing Black men? And they said, well, it depends on who makes it. And they were like, okay, why? Well, because we believe that Black people want to see this. So they're really interested in investing in Black music, like with criminal activity, but it's really difficult for the industries to invest in conscious rap music and Black love that promotes things that could bring harmony and unity and not fuel negative stereotypes, if that makes sense. So I don't want to keep talking. If there's questions,
No. This is called Royce's Rant. Like, it's plural. Even though it sounds singular, it's plural. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But real talk. And then hold on, because I don't want to. I want to make sure. I'm just gonna skim past these comments real quick because I want to top off what you just said. But my man, the Samoan Watchman, he said, my wife and 4 brothers are all in great shape, confident chick magnets. But when I come into the picture, they turn into cowards. They are all scared of their father and me. Their dad was strict. He said they get jealous of and hate on me a lot, and I don't understand why. I am confident and smart, and it intimidates them. The only thing I can figure is an overprotective pastor for a father. Programming is real. Television, they tell lies to your vision. That's what they be saying, right? BJ says disclaimer. Oh no, he says, yay, my bad. Kanye West, personality disorder or bipolar with rapid cycling. And should he be running around unmedicated? That's an interesting question. You think Kanye should be running around without taking his medicine?
That is a loaded question. I'm not that type of doctor, but I do believe
I told you
that, there's 2 things. Medication does obviously have a purpose, but I think our society is using it as a crutch too much. And for not just mental disorders or mental illness, but just for physical things and not really looking at the root cause and a lot of people who have been overly medicated who feel like, okay, I was taking my medication, but I don't feel like myself. I feel like a zombie. I have all these side effects. And then they're like not functioning. And so they get off it and they're falling back into a cycle, but they're not doing other things that could help alleviate the symptoms, that can help them get to the root cause of their trauma, of their disorder. And they're just saying, oh, I'm broken, give me a pill. And so what I would say, because I'm more of a proponent of holistic health. I battled depression for 20 years and everyone told me to take a pill. And I personally, my choice was not to be medicated. I overcame it without medication. And I know he has a disorder, so it's different. But, what I pray for Kanye on a regular basis is that he finds someone that he can trust that would be willing to really do the work with him, some deep rooted healing of whatever happened to his mom and his past, his upbringing, the culture that he's contributing to, whatever tendencies he has that's causing him to self-sabotage and just not be healthy. So I feel like, and I also think that Kanye is exposed to things that we probably will never know about, and that he has to keep a tight lip on. And so there's probably people that he has dirt on that want to shut him up with some pill to keep him asleep, to keep him from sharing. And talk about being, yeah, I'm not gonna say that. But so there's, to me, when people say Kanye should be medicated, it concerns me that he might have like handlers or something that just want to, because he's such a public figure, who want to keep him medicated just so he won't like spill the tea or the beans or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But on the other hand, do I want him to be his healthiest self? Yes. I want him to be able to do the work with someone that he trusts, so that he can be emotionally free, for sure.
I dig it. And Janine says, how many, in your opinion, how many psychotic breaks are really authentic compared to drug-induced, drug-related? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, good question. That I don't have an answer for, and I'll tell you like at the end of the show, because the type of therapy I do doesn't really deal with psychotic breaks per se. But I will say that we all have tipping points, and a lot of us, not just Black men, but a lot of us are carrying baggage and burdens from our past and our current life without the proper coping mechanisms. A lot of people are taught to cope with stress through smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, being medicated. Maybe you just do yoga sometimes, or people will should them, you should meditate, you should do this, you should eat better. And the reality is a lot of people are time poor, and they don't understand that there's little other things that you can do to really release those things physically, energetically, mentally, and emotionally, and cope with stress in a way that is like not going to get to a breaking point, a psychotic break, where people are often just taught to soldier through it. And then when they have a break of any sort, minor or extreme, they're like, oh man, they're just lost. They're broken. There's no turning back, or they're crazy. They get put down on. And I think, and then they're taught to go to therapy, and it's more like a punishment or a emergency response, when really things like therapy and stress and management and mental health management should be a daily maintenance, just like you maintenance your car, just like you wash your dishes and you clean your house and you wash your clothes and you maintenance your hair, you go to the hair salon and get your beard, you get lined up.
Right.
Those mental health should be as much of our daily maintenance as these things, so that we don't have so many psychotic breaks and we're not as medicated. That's my stance on that.
Okay, I dig that. And y'all, thank y'all for the questions. You know what I'm saying? You guys are doing y'all. I should have took y'all's questions. You know what I mean? But we gonna circle around back. You know what I'm saying? Because we kind of midway. You know what I mean? We up on the hill. We gonna reach the climax here, because I definitely want to speak on what we'll be speaking on here in just a little bit here. But what I would like to ask is, let's talk about social media. All right. Just listening to some of your stuff too. You know what I mean? And so, let me pick up a question from the statement that she said, and I just kind of want to see how you elaborate more on this. But do you agree that that social media plays a big part in our mental issues?
100%.
And
Yeah.
why do you think so? Like, what does it do? Like, what does social media do to our minds, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's something that will cause you to have some sort of attention deficit. We've talked about disorders today, attention deficit disorder, but
ADD.
yeah, your attention is worth $1 billion trillion. If you can control your mind, you can be almost unstoppable. But when you have so many notifications and when you're scrolling and you keep scrolling and you have things that are 15, 30, 60 seconds long, keeping your attention, you just want to go, go, go to the next thing. And then all the meanwhile, people are liking your content, and those likes are clinically designed to give you dopamine hits so that you are addicted to being on that platform and being addicted to that chase of getting that like. You are that affects your mental health. It affects your ability to focus and concentrate and see things, think logically, and being able to control your mind, control the pace of your thoughts. It affects your ability to do other things that maybe you have to do and you truly would like to do outside of just being on your phone all day. So those are two main things. Just like when we're on our phones, we're creating a habit of thought, a style of thinking, which is all over the place. When really the goal for your thought habits is to be more streamlined, to be more calm, so that you're more in control of your thinking, your thoughts. You're not ruminating over like constantly thinking about the same things from the past or the present. And so just that alone can really impact your mental health, because once you're able to sit and have a focused mind, you can do so much more with your mental power. We only use 5% of our mental power, but if we were able to hone in on our ability to focus and really tap into our mental power, we probably use a lot more. So I think that is one huge liability or thing that can harm us. The second thing really quickly is, we all know this. We're looking at people's highlight reels most of the time on social media. But when it's all glossy and people have the beautiful clothes and the awesome relationship and the awesome family and they're taking these vacations, and we're sitting at home in our drawers thinking dang, that ain't me. I work hard. I got a job. I got 2 or 3 jobs. I want to live like that. I want to, yeah. This is all for now. We're comparing ourselves and our journey to other people's highlight reels. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And even if it's great behind the scenes, we still should not be comparing ourselves to other people. And so when we give into that comparison, that could chip away at our feelings of self-worth and our confidence. And self-esteem is definitely a health issue for mentally and emotionally. Yeah.
Let's nitpick that real quick. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm not gonna say I will be the first, but I will be one of the ones who would admit that I have been a victim of social media, the claw, like the bear hug that it can have on you sometimes. You don't realize how much, on the iPhone sometimes when it shows you your screen time, and then it tells you, and I'm sitting there like, I know I did not, there's no way there's 24 hours in a day. You try, maybe I just left the phone, maybe I left the app on, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's what
Right.
that was, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you, for me, I'm gonna tell you like this. When I get consumed into social media, if I'm not being productive, like I can, like the ADD you said it set in, you have a productive mindset, and then all of a sudden you'll get off track, and then there's this funk, not a smell, right? But there's this feeling inside that feels slothy and dirty and like I know I just took a shower, but why do I have this sloth feeling and taste in my mouth? Next thing you know, 3 hours done roll by. You know what I mean? It's this thing that we do. Like it's a constant doom, 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 doom. Knowing like, hey, look, every time a notification come up, boom, oh, what is it? Okay, that ain't nothing. Oh, let me see if I get, nobody ain't messaging you yet. Like
Right.
technology has done something to this generation. You know what I'm saying? And it can cause us to be distracted. In my opinion, the Pokemon thing, there were people getting hit by vehicles looking for something that ain't real. BJ, I don't mean you, bro. BJ, he does it in the safety of his own home. I be seeing his IG posts and stuff like that. At least they in his crib. He's not the ones that go out and run out in the street. Shout out to my boy BJ. The Pokemon still running out. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy BJ. You know what I mean? I had to get you on that one. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So, all right. So, I'm trying to see if I want to go there yet. No, I don't want to go there yet. I'm gonna have one more question. Let me get you one more question. All right. Um,
Okay.
like I said, this has just been going through some of these because a lot of stuff that you talk about, I definitely wanted to touch on that before we got to the core thing because that's something that can be explained pretty well. Like, but it's good to hear uh how you feel about other things that really kind of tie into mental health and issues. You know what I'm saying? So let's skip. Let's and we've all talked about it, and you've talked about it too. But I want them to hear you talk about it, right? So this whole Will and Jada situation, right? Now,
Oh yeah.
yeah, to me, you know what I'm saying? This thing will never get old. Why? Because we've been talking about it for 2 years. And it seems like that they have this machine running it over and over and over. Like, oh, we gotta talk about it's like when Jill and Jada, when Will and Jada come into the picture with whatever they do, it just prolongs, right? It prolongs. Let's talk about emasculation.
Okay.
Let's talk about how people feel about Jada and maybe her mannerisms or character or her ways as far as what they're showing us. We don't know really what they do behind closed doors, but what they're portraying, their perception. Do you feel that that is toxic?
Right. So the Will and Jada situation, I know that they've had some things with the red table, and I'm not an expert. Like I haven't been following the story per se, but I know enough to know two things. One, things that contribute to emasculation. So I'm going to say that really quickly. Some of the things are talking about an ex-lover a lot, and especially like not just to your part, the man, but to friends, family, public arena, just making fun of them, not really, not saying, "Hey, I'm proud of you," being competitive with your partner, and yeah, just kind of talking bad about your man to people in general about like what they don't do in bed or how they don't clean the dishes right or whatever it might be, just saying like you ain't shit or whatever. So those things do contribute obviously to emasculation. Like nobody wants to feel that, but in society we've kind of made it seem okay to do that to men. The little bit I know about the Jada and Will situation is that Jada does that. She talked about Tupac very publicly a lot, and she kind of, people are saying that she was competitive with him or didn't really feel like his career, she could have done more, or she wanted to be as successful, something along those lines. So you could probably educate me, but just I'm seeing the end result of what has been going on the last couple of years, and I definitely get a sense that that he's been emasculated. I've ever heard one person talk about conspiracy theories, that it was like a ritual, like a humiliation ritual to just
Like she's the handler or
just
something.
yeah, just
Okay.
like just humiliate him on the public stage for the last 2 years
Mm-hmm.
for whatever ends to means that they feel like that. People do weird rituals all the time. I just saw a celebrity talk about a couple, they drink each other's blood, and they were like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, so I don't know, I'm not gonna say that's what they're doing. I'm just saying when I think of
I don't put nothing
ritual,
past
like
it. Yeah.
there's I know
It's Holly
there
weird.
could people do Holly weird. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like I don't know why, but Will is hurting obviously, and I could definitely, from the bits and pieces I know, see that their relationship has a part of that. So what do you think?
So my homeboy Demario, shout out to him. He had us on last week when we were talking about our Juneteenth that we're throwing here.
Oh,
He had
nice.
titled it "The Slap That Cured COVID," because after that slap, girl, ain't nobody talking about COVID no more.
For
Are
real,
you
for
finished? Or are you
real.
done? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no more. Yeah, that's a conspiracy right there. We're gonna, but in my opinion, to be honest with you, like, all right, I'm gonna hold them both accountable, right? As a Will fan that I am, and as my fellow Libra, you know what I'm saying. We have the same mannerisms. We can be passive. Uh, we love people. We're very social. We love the arts. We love music. Entertainment and stuff like that. We like to keep a balance of things. And just for some of the clips that I've seen that maybe, where they show with her, where she's filming him in the house and stuff like that. And, on the red table talk, just looking at him look beat, like just beat and just being, I love my baby, bad marriage for life. And I'm just like, what is going on mentally, right? Then a part of me, just from like, I would say my religious values about being married and, just tying the knot unless it's through infidelity. Now, I have no idea what they have confirmed with each other on what they can and can't do in a marriage. Right? I don't know, but as far as what how it goes with the Bible, you know what I mean. You're under God, and it speaks of infidelity being a means for leaving your spouse. All right, but I feel for Will because I feel like he really loved her. I really felt like he really loved her. Um, I felt like Jada's, in my opinion, I felt like Jada didn't love him just as much as he did. I feel like that she had a love for something else or for someone else. Who knows? But the more and more I hear her talk, she is very unapologetic about how she feel and how it makes Will feel. So going back to the question, just circling back down to the mental health of men, I can see what it's doing to him mentally. So do I approve of the slap? Nah. Do I understand that? Oh hell yeah. I understand that slap. I understand it. That slap wasn't just for Chris Rock. That slap was for August Alsina. That slap was for you, for me. Anybody else who was talking about him for 2 years and he had to just suck it up. He tried to be in the greatest shape of his life. He tried, even when he was posting, he tried to post up positive stuff, magical movie moments and clips and stuff like that to keep inspiring children, right? But I think all of that was something that he was trying to hold in. Like, this is my coping mechanism. You know what I'm saying? But it was just something about that night at the Grammys. Ain't no telling what conversation he had with his wife before then. It was already Oscar so white. You know what I mean? So now you're doubling back. You might win an award, and then you come up there. And I really felt like at that moment, I've had those moments where I didn't give a F who was around me. I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it. I don't care how embarrassing it is because that's how I felt. That's when I knew, oh yeah, okay. He's been he's been holding this in for a minute. You know what I'm saying? So it's oh man. I feel sorry for Will, man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I really do.
And that's why we really have to help in the stigma and for men to say, hey, it's okay not to be okay. Like, to not have to man up through a bad relationship, to not just be like, oh, well, this is how marriage is. I'm the man, so I just got to deal with it. And I see women do that every day. I see women, like, I know a woman, her husband got sunburned when they went to Disney World, their family, and she literally was sitting there like, how you're the only one that got sunburned? Were you stupid? You were staring in the sun, and who does that? Like, who gets sunburned? Instead of being like, oh, let me get you some aloe. Are you okay? Does your face hurt? Like, I'm sorry you got sunburned. You know, people have different genetics. Their skin responds differently to the sun. Like, why are you berating him for getting a sunburn? And you know, so women do this all the time, and they think that it's okay because the guy is bigger and he's a man and he's not going to feel anything. But when you hear those types of things day after day, night after night, and you are not feeling appreciated, and it's going to mess with your mental health, and and if that's the case, you're less likely to go to therapy because society says just to be a man. It's going to crumble away at you before you have what someone said earlier, a psychotic break. A lot of in that, you know, some people might commit suicide or just cheat or just, you know, become addicted to porn as an escape, or they might just have whittling self-esteem and just become a recluse. Like, you don't know how it's going to manifest. Everyone responds to it differently, but it's still unhealthy in the long run. And for Will to feel like he had to be positive and soldier through that is what's sad to me. What made him feel like he had to do that?
In other words, you're saying he should have expressed the feeling he had the moment he felt it.
Yes. He should have felt comfortable saying that, regardless of what the consequences could have been. Maybe she was going to cuss him out. Maybe she was going to walk out. But to say, hey, what you're doing is not okay, that is something that should have been an option. And he didn't feel like it was an option. And that's the problem.
Good. Okay, so check this out. And this is a great time to go ahead and slide up on here, man, to the beef of it, man. You know what I mean? First of all, thank you for everybody that's been tuning in right now. You know what I'm saying? In this first hour, man, we gonna hit it for about, you know, about a half an hour, because this is really the meat of everything. And I just wanted you guys to get a just to hear her talk and hear some of the things or her ideologies and opinions on certain aspects. And we're going to talk about more specific about, you know, what your expertise is, right? And I kind of had a I kind of had a joke about it. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because when I was looking at some of her stuff, I was like, oh man, everybody's saying that too, so I don't feel so bad. You know what I mean? But so
Oh,
Miss
yeah,
Ashley, so
yes.
you're in the therapy field, you're in the therapy world. You know what I'm saying? And those are your studies, that's your expertise. But there's a specific thing that you involve with your therapy, and this is something called hypnotherapy. Correct?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
So, explain hypnotherapy to the people that may have a bad feeling about it, right? Because for me, like, I'll keep it real with you. Like, I made a reference to like Get Out. Really, we've been had a reference before Get Out. It was just the movie. That movie seemed to speak for us, right? And so, this is what I think when I think of hypnotherapy, right?
Yeah.
I think of, all right, a clock ticking, or paying attention to like a certain sound and focusing on and closing your eyes, and somebody speaking to you, and you go into this like lost world, and like to this abyss, like to Alice in Wonderland, and you're entrapped, you're stuck in this little hole, and now this person's got a control of you, and now you done come and turned into some MK Ultra, you know what I'm saying, robot, that at any moment it can be a snap of a finger, or a touch of a spoon with the tea, or a little whistle, or a trigger word, and then all of a sudden they malfunction. Perfect example is the conspiracy with Kanye West. When he
Right.
was on stage,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, Jay-Z was mad at him. He said, "Man, I gave you $22 million to do this tour, and you only do 22 minutes because you're ranting about the music label, and you talking about, please don't let the people come after me, Jay-Z." They were saying, oh, he must have malfunctioned. Now, on the conspiracy, I do believe in the MK Ultra stuff. I do believe in Manchurian candidates, mind control, all that stuff like that. So when I think about hypnotherapy, I'm thinking that's what it is, right? But you have a different explanation with that. Can you explain that to people that may have that type of ideal about hypnotherapy?
Yes, thank you so much. So I really enjoyed listening to what your perception of hypnotherapy or hypnosis is, because it's just I do it so often. I'm in my own little bubble now. Like I know what people's perception, but to hear you articulate it in your own unique way is like it's so fun because I get to say no, that's not what it is. Like I don't know. I get to. It's just fun to say okay, it's comical how that perception has been woven into mainstream society, and it's unfortunate really, but hypnotherapy is hypnosis used therapeutically, right? And ultimately you are using it to get into a relaxed state, to tap into the most powerful part of your mind, which is your subconscious mind. Your subconscious, like I said before, rules up to 95% of your habits and your behavior, your insecurities, your fears, your worries, your trauma that you're holding on to, your suppressed emotions, your suppressed memories, things that are driving you to feel psychotic, to feel distracted, etc. Why is it a thing? Why does hypnotherapy exist? Well, it's been used for centuries, and it's been called since ancient man's. Scientists have discovered that even ancient Egyptians used hypnosis and things called sleep temples to help people heal emotional and physical trauma, wounds, issues. It's just been called different things over the centuries, and that's because over the centuries, mankind has known that if you want to reach more of your potential, if you want a happier life, if you want to excel and overcome the past, you have to first work with your subconscious mind, that most powerful part of your mind. And if you do that in a therapeutic setting, you're going to see results. Now, am I going to say that hypnosis it cannot be used for bad? Okay, no, I'm not going to discredit that. I do believe in MK Ultra. I believe that like many things, hypnosis is a double-edged sword. Okay, so just like cash can be used to fuel crime and human trafficking and do these things, it can also feed the poor, clothe the people who don't have clothes. It can give you shelter. It can give you memories on a beautiful destination wedding or vacation. Money can, give to charities for things that you have a heartfelt thing, like medical freedom, these sorts of things. But when it comes to using hypnosis to harm people, that is extremely hard to do. And it has to be something where you are doing something like torturing them, emasculating them, blackmailing them, getting them to the point where they're going to cave. Like hypnosis at that point is like a last resort. Like you really have to break someone before you can use it for that. And I'll tell you why. Hypnosis is a state that you enter at least 1 to 2 times a day. Like right before you fall asleep and right before you wake up. You're not fully asleep and you're not fully unconscious. You're sort of in this in-between state. And no one can come to you when you're in that in-between state and say to you, hey, go rob a bank, or hey, you're going to sign your life over to me and sell your soul, and you're going to be on this record contract and do whatever I say for the next 20 years. Or no one can come to you and say, hey, give me all your money. You'd snap out and be like, huh, what? Bitch, what? Like you would not comply with that, because that is not something that your logical mind is willing or able to do. It's not something that your logical mind, your personality, your ego, all these things that make up would comply with. What hypnotherapy does is it helps amplify ideas that you already want, that you want to see grow. So say if you came to me and you said, I want better sleep, I want to not be an insomniac anymore. In the hypnotic state, I would give you what's called a suggestion to say, you're getting effortless sleep, your sleep habits are improving, and your subconscious is going to latch on to that. Okay, if that makes sense. And it's going to say, okay, it's going to be in agreement. So I'm kind of getting in the technicality of it, and that's not what people want to hear, but hypnotherapy is just hypnosis used therapeutically in a therapeutic setting that serves you. And it's something that, if you think about it this way, if hypnosis is powerful enough to make people bark like a dog on stage at a Vegas show, or to think that they're a celebrity or do silly things on a show, couldn't it be powerful enough for you to believe that you're more confident, to believe that you have the ability to get deeper sleep, to believe that those things in the past that happened to you that are traumatic are things that you can heal from and overcome and learn from and evolve past, so that when you think about them, you don't have the emotional triggers.
So let me ask this then. Okay, so I'm gonna stop you. Cause you all right. So this was actually BJ kind of had that good question, but I'm gonna take a little bit of his in mind because we were kind of saying the same thing. Do you ever get like, I like, okay, so I hear when you say like, you can't make people do this, you can't make people do that, you know what I'm saying? But have you ever been in a situation where, you probably somebody tapped into something that might have startled you, or something that looked like what BJ says, where that you might unlock something that is buried for a reason. You know what I mean? You feel what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's just say like there may be somebody out there who has a deep, dark secret that they didn't want to tell nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How do you not stop them from tapping into that or going too far? Like, how can you control the subconscious? How do you control what they want to tell you or what they want to speak about? You feel what I'm saying? Like, how, when you open a portal like that, right? And and I say a portal, you know what I'm saying? But like, when you open something like that up, and if we're looking at the duality of, like you say, good and bad, good and evil, anything like that, there's a duality there, right? So in that balance, you kind of have to be on guard, right, with whom you deal with. Do you know what to ever expect? And can you navigate that?
Yeah, no one's ever asked me that before, so that's a brilliant question. Thank you both. So ultimately, when you're in hypnosis, I don't have any control over you, and that's the misconception that I should have addressed sooner. Is that I can't make you do anything you don't want to do or say anything you don't want to say. I don't have that control. The client is always in control. You are always in control in the session, and the reason why is I cannot hypnotize someone without their permission. I know that seems counterintuitive, because in pop culture we always see that you are, the hypnotist is in control, and that's not true. So, and my clients, I always tell them how to get out of the hypnotic state if they're ever uncomfortable at a certain time. But when we're in session together, my job is to listen to what habits or beliefs are bothering you now, and what you want to feel instead, what habits and beliefs you want instead. And so the process is actually very linear. I'm always, when we are allowing the client, when they're allowing their subconscious mind to be more alert to kind of receive the messages that I'm saying, um, it's really just walking them through the path of where they are to where they want to be. We're not just digging in the trenches. Like when you're in cognitive behavior therapy, you are kind of saying like, tell me about your childhood, and how do you feel about that? And you're kind of, the psychologist is analyzing them and hoping they get a breakthrough, and they're kind of doing this web-like type therapy to help the client understand how all these things are connected. Hypnotherapy is different because you're literally just telling me about a specific goal that you want to heal. So you're saying, okay, my grandma died. I'm feeling, I can't, this emotion is trapped in me. It's turning into rage. I want to feel free of it. I want to feel like more at peace. I want to feel some closure. So we would explore that in the hypnosis, where to kind of reel behind the curtain, what I would do is take you into a sort of hypnotic state where I would say, okay, have a conversation with your grandma. What would you say to her if she was still here? Ask her how you can get more closure in this situation. And in that space, you're able to have that closure and that sense of connection and get those answers, because of two things are happening. One, your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between reality or imagination. Just like when you are having a sexual fantasy, your body starts to respond. You have your physiological responses. Or if you're having, if you have a fear about spiders and someone said, you think you see a spider, or you just think about spiders, you start to get fear and panic and anxiety. So when we are saying in hypnosis, I might have them talk to their grandma, because that symbolism of being able to talk to your grandma is so real that you're coming from a place of your most wisest self, that you can have that breakthrough. You can have that sense of release. You can say, okay, I really felt like I was talking to her. And not only that, but some speculate that the subconscious is connected to your infinite self, to infinite intelligence, or even your higher self. Mm-hmm. So if you believe in that. And so when you're on this kind of connected plane, this infinite plane, who's not to say that you are not speaking to a piece of your grandmother that exists or still exists in some energetic form, or that did exist, or their higher self. So that a lot of people will come to me, and once that we build a rapport and we explore these things, they have these really meaningful healing experiences, and they say it even helps increase their spirituality. So I know that's not kind of what you were asking for, but we're never going in and say, okay, your subconscious is open. Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about all these things that happened to you, and let's unlock a door. And it's never like that. It's always me saying, if it's safe and secure, have this conversation with your grandma. If it's safe and secure, picture this. And if you don't feel secure, this is how you get out of hypnosis. It's always with their permission. I'm always asking them to make sure that they feel as safe as possible in that space.
Okay, so cool. So let's keep the challenge going. Let's keep the challenge going. All right. So so now that I'm hearing you say that, so there's a couple of things that I kind of want to nitpick a little bit. You know what I'm saying? All right. So when we're talking about the subconscious, right? You've heard of this thing called astral projection, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I'll throw that in there in a little bit, but
okay.
And this is just a flat out bold question on this part. When it comes to doing stuff like that, when we're talking about being in a hypnotic state, when it comes to therapy, where does God play in this role? like, and I'll explain it what I mean here, right? Because you have people who, you know, go to church. You have people, you know, who believe in God, Jesus Christ. They believe he's the son of God. He's died for our sins, you know, and they're pretty well versed in, you know, in the biblical world, in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
And you may have some people, you know what I'm saying, that may not agree with that particular situation. You know, I'm kind of right there too. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of going, you know, back and forth the situation. But what I do know, like, what guess what scares me a little bit, and if I'm just being real, is like I'm still looking at the duality. As much as you can make somebody do something good, you can make them do something bad too. There's a
Mhm.
do, and there's the question I'm gonna come to right here. In that case, you would have to actually put trust into what you're doing. Like, that person may not have never met you before, right? But they have to put trust that, would you say that your client would have to really trust what you're doing, because you're dealing with something, what I would say, spiritual too. How do you keep other entities, since we're kind of going there, how do you keep other entities from not flooding those gates that are open? Even when you ask, right? You say, hey, if it's up to you, you know what I'm saying, you can do it. But like, if you're in a hypnotic state, how can you be conscious of what you're saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a few things. How do you keep other entities from not coming in? That's all day, every day, no matter what conscious state you're in. We live in an energetic universe, right? If you looked at your skin, your hand under a microscope, it would be vibrating. Like, you could say we are a spirit. And your energy is important. So whether you're walking down the street or going to a concert or driving in your car, or in a work environment, you are faced with other energies, and you don't know what the hell people are doing at home. They might say they're a Christian, and they could be a Satanist at home, or they might be playing with their Ouija board and or they might just be someone who falls susceptible to. I've had people, not clients, but I've had friends that are Christian that tell me they went to a party and got drunk and high and talked to a demon, and they were bragging about it. Like, so we live on this energetic plane. You can come in contact with different sorts of spirits, low vibration, evil energy, bright healing energy, God energy, demonic energy, ghosts, these types of things, if you believe in them. There's no science to say that those things don't exist. So you're always susceptible to them. And it's always your responsibility to understand how you deal with that in your own personal life, whether it's through Christianity, prayer, some people use crystals, whatever your modality is. So when I'm dealing with clients, that's not the first thing that we don't talk, that doesn't come up, but, so being in hypnosis is not an exception to that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's always so that's number one. Number two, building trust. Trust is so important as a hypnotherapist. So that's from the moment that a client messages me, or they're doing a free consultation, or if they're in their session, my job is to always be building rapport with them, to be building that trust, so that I have that trust. Knowing, I don't care how well of a talented therapist you are, doctor, hypnotherapist, if you're not in rapport or trust with your client, nothing is going to work. That's number two. Even with medication, there's something called the placebo effect. So you can even give your client, your doctor, you're giving them a pill, and you say this is going to make you feel happier, da 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 da. And studies show that even if it's a sugar pill, if your doctor says that and you trust them, you're in rapport with them, then you're going to feel the effects that they say you're going to have because of that power of suggestion. Mm-hmm. So that's number two. I'm always building trust, and if they don't trust me, I will tell them I can't work with them. How does hypnosis play into God and religion? A lot of God. So I encourage people who want to dive deeper into that topic to read the book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and it explores that in a very eloquent relatable way, not just with Christianity, but religion throughout mankind. Essentially, when you read ancient texts, it always talks about things like so within, so without, so above, so below. So, and that doesn't only come about heaven and earth, that can also be translated to mean what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your heart is going to happen outside of you. So when your mind is in chaos, when you are allowing yourself to suppress emotions, when you're allowing yourself to just be distracted by all these things like Instagram and materialistic goals, and you're not focusing, your inner world is chaos, your outer world is going to be chaos. Your home is going to be in disarray. Your things are not going to be as clean. Your financial status is kind of going to be topsy-turvy. So, but when you clean house, and when you have a strong sense of who you are and you're calm within and you have a good foundation for that and you're mentally healthy, your outer world is going to reflect that. So that God can help you do that. Prayer can help you do that. A lot of deep prayer is, you are in hypnosis when you are in deep prayer. And a lot of my clients I've taught self-hypnosis to will come to me later and say, hey, I didn't know I could use this for prayer, but I'm feeling more of a connection to God. And I was like, yeah, I do that. I don't tell them that, they discover that on their own. But when you are that centered, it's just simply, hypnosis is simply a deep meditation state. So it's more like mastering meditation so that you can reach your inner goals, your mental goals, and even spiritual ones too.
Okay. All right. So look, I'm gonna keep at it. I'm gonna keep at it. So this is good.
Okay.
All right. So, and this is a simple question, right? So, and of course, if even if you're trying to pitch a business, pitch a business product or anything like that to somebody that's investing in it, you gotta have your pitch, right?
Yeah.
So my question is this, like, and now this is not the first time I've heard of a hypnotherapist. Of course, I mean you be seeing them on TV and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I always find it. I don't know, but I always find it that, well, nobody really brings God in the picture when it comes to that. Like God is never suggested when, let's just go back to the mental issues, right? Let's go back to you being stressed out. Let's go back to you dealing with verbal abuse or anything like that, or just anger. You know what I mean? You know, there are scriptures in the Bible that help you cope with certain things like that, or even into prayer. Like I know when you say in prayer, you go into some type of meditation. The only thing I would say to that is that I feel like that meditation is a direct line. It's like a direct line to God, like from you to God, right? Like there's really like no medium, so to speak. You know what I mean, or what I call like the middleman. You know how some people be like, God told me to tell you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm like, well, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Well, why didn't you tell me? You know what I mean? And I know there's some things that God works in certain ways. When we don't listen to Him, He'll send somebody else our way. You know what I mean? To speak subliminally. But I've always wondered, like, why is God never mentioned when it comes to therapy, and in more particular, like hypnotherapy? Because at the end of the day, and this is just like what I believe. At the end of the day, I feel like God is the end all be all. He sees all. He is the healer, and I've always felt like that therapy from God is that direct line from you speaking from you to Him, and then opening up yourself, asking Him to come into your life, right? Asking Him to come into your life and change me because you want to change. Isn't that still a sense of, isn't that what you would consider like God's therapy without having to be in a hypnotic state? Does that make sense?
Yeah, good question.
Okay.
So when I say that, like, prayer and all these things can, hypnosis, I'm not comparing hypnosis to God. What I'm saying, it's a modality that you have access to that can help you reach your goals, your mental, physical goals, habit goals, self-improvement goals, spiritual goals. Um, and it's all personal. You have to find what works for you. But what I would say is that we are still, at the end of the day, human beings, and human beings are complex. And we have fears, we have traumas, we have anxieties about the past, about the future. And like I said earlier, we're not really given tools to cope with these things. We have this meat suit that we have to take care of, and we have to nourish and get the proper vitamins, and we have to get the exercise, and we have brain chemistry, we have endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, these beautiful chemicals that can help us. We also have stress hormones like cortisol, and we have families, and we have responsibilities, and we have to keep this machine going. And so I say all that to say, in this human experience, we need a synergistic approach. We need things that are going to help create synergy, that's going to help us maintain balance in this. Just like if you have a car, you need to get the tires rotated, the oil change, you need to put the gas in, you need to get it detailed every once in a while, you need to vacuum the crumbs off the floor of the car, the seat. So you need to get, the computer or whatever, the radio sometimes updated, whatever. I'm not a car person, but I know that you need synergy to maintain that car so it's lasting, and so do we. And that includes spirituality and a relationship with God for a lot of people. And I think you should be spiritual, or if you, whatever God, Jesus, Yahweh,
don't say it like that. Don't say it
but
like
you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you need that God, you need that relationship, and however you commune with them that's personal for you. Some people do it through meditation. You can call it prayer, you can call it hypnosis, but at the end of the day, how you commune is personal. But then you need your food, and you need your nutrition. And if your body is your temple, if we're going to connect it to God, you are honoring being in the mirror image of God through that nutrition, and through how you are nourishing yourself, whether through fasting, salads, supplements, etc., and exercise. And once you take care of your mental health and your spirituality and your physical body and your brain health, not just your mental health, but your actual brain health, you're going to see yourself becoming more spiritual at the end of the day, elevating to a higher sense of joy. And I think they call it ecstasy in certain, like Buddhism, and you are essentially not going to be on this lower vibrational plane where it's going to be easier to communicate. There's something called some people call it density, some people call it dimension, but it's like when your energy is at a certain level, like if you're operating from a place of shame and guilt and anger, your energy is going to be very low. Like studies show us, your vibration is low. But when you're from a place of love, which God is teaching to love, you are vibrating higher. You're more intelligent, you're more healed, you're thriving more. And people can kind of get a sense like something is different about you when you're from a place of love. And so I would say hypnosis has been used in spiritual practices for centuries. When you've been in a church, especially a Baptist church, you've been in a hypnotic state. There's things that can put you into a trance or altered state of consciousness, like when people are shouting and all these things, and they're doing this, and they're just so overwhelmed with the spirit. That is a trance state. So if people have experienced that, they've experienced hypnosis, and that helps them feel more connected to their God. So it all ties in. I'm not saying that hypnosis or hypnotherapy substitutes your relationship with God, or is just the way to get there. I'm saying that if you want a synergistic approach to a more happier spiritual life, it's one thing you can include in your synergy.
I dig it. So check this out. What give us some, like, how people do, like, the reviews and stuff from like the hotels and all that, like, man, I came through this hotel and it was great. Man, what are some of the things that you have what are some of the things that you've heard positively, from Black men that you've assisted or helped? Give us some, give us that infomercial thing. You know how it goes.
Yeah. So over and over again, I hear that it's not like Get Out. It's not like Get Out. I will ask them, is it like Get Out? No. And you can see that on my content on my Instagram. And that's why earlier I was saying there's something that happened in pop culture that kind of detoured me from picking up the snitch sooner, which Get Out came out. And like right as I was getting into studying this, so it was like, okay, That ain't gonna happen. Like, I'm not gonna, like, there's no way I could, do this. But what do they say about it is that I've heard one client say it's a phenomenal experience. Another client said, I feel free again. One of my favorite things a client said was, "Oh, my eyes are sweating," because they came out of hypnosis and their eyes were sweating. We worked on self-worthiness, and they let go of insecurities and their self-worth. They didn't realize that they didn't feel worthy of the career goals that they were reaching. And so we worked on building that self-worth, and they came out and they're like, "Oh, my eyes are sweating," because they didn't want to tell me they were crying. I thought that was so funny. But yeah, just read my reviews. You can access them. I have a heal.me page. It's like a page for holistic practitioners. And yeah, they say those things that they were really skeptical at first and they weren't sure, but they came in and they felt calm and they felt good about what their results, and they saw results right away. Sometimes they say, "Oh, I had insomnia and I got sleep that night," and they're surprised that the results they got were so quick. So that's always good, because I understand that people are time poor, and you got to hustle, you got a job, you got responsibilities, you got bills, you got all these things you got to do. And so my job is to not take up your time. My job is to get you in the door, in the session, and help you get those results you're looking for as soon as possible, so you can go on with your life happier, healthier, wealthier.
So do you only deal with them like one time? Like, is it like a one hit or quitter type thing? Is there like a follow up with it? Let's just say you're dealing with the client, and yeah, because I know you have a consultation, but when you get into like the real deal, are they left not coming back? And that's in a good way, right? Let's just say, like, okay, well, they're not coming back means, hey, listen, you did your thing, I'm good, blase blase. But have you ever had instances where they would have to refuel, or what I mean? Like, has it always worked? Let's say it like
Good
that. Has it
question.
always worked?
Yeah, so I interpret that as two questions, so I'll answer both of them. One is it a one hit or quitter? Like, how often do you come? And the second question is, does it always work? So the first question, I would say, if they're coming to me for one specific goal, I generally, on average, see results within one session. Everyone's different. So the disclaimer is that it can take 1 to 3 sessions. It depends on how honest you're being with me about the presenting issue, or maybe you come to the session and you go home and you realize that, oh, there's actually something else, so that is blocking me. But so very rarely does it take 3 sessions, maybe like one time. But I just like to say 1 to 3 just to be on the safe side. But I definitely, if you're coming to me for one specific issue, one session, which is phenomenal. It's, hypnotherapy is just like any other thing that you do. Like, you go into a restaurant, or you use PayPal, or you use your dishwasher instead of washing it by hand. It's just something that offers you convenience, and something that's going to help you get from where you are to where you want to be faster, safer, in a holistic way, without drugs, without more added stress, and without added financial burden. Because you don't want to keep pumping money into therapy and it not work. So has it never worked? I would say, honestly, since 2019, I've had 2 clients that claim it did not work. But what hypnotherapists do, not only do we do the hypnosis, but we give you homework, so that you're working with your conscious mind to help really cement in these new tools and these ideas that you're going to have, whether it be better sleep, more confidence, more self-worth, less rage. And if you're not doing the homework, you're going to not see the results as fast. Also, if people are not honest with me. So like someone asked earlier about disorders, I wanted to say that I'm a hypnotherapist. So I'm not a clinical therapist where I would be diagnosing people. So what I do with clients, if they're coming to me for anxiety, I would say, do you have an anxiety disorder? And they say, no, I'll work with them. But I've had clients that came to me for anxiety and it wasn't working after a couple sessions. And I was like, I think you should be tested for an anxiety disorder. And I think you should really dig into maybe if you have something called, if you have low blood sugar, hypoglycemia. If you're hypoglycemic, your blood sugar can cause you to stay in a state of constant anxiety. And so they're not looking at the things, they're not following up, they're not doing this, and then they'll say, oh, it doesn't work. And so that's when we see a problem, when they're not really being willing to be a team player. Because it's not me saying, hey, you're confident now, go off and be confident. It's a team effort. We have to trust each other. I'm bringing my best expertise and my skill set, and you're bringing what you have to the table, which is just like showing up and following through and trusting me and the process and being honest. And that's when we create magic and success. So those two terms, we didn't have that.
Oh yeah, I dig that. I dig that. Well, man, look, time, man, it's already an hour and 34 minutes. Like, I be missing on the time. I be, golly, with me going. So look at this. Give us just like your, give us like that final call, like they do in the NOI. You know what I'm saying? Give us something to, give us something to leave with. Give us something, that I guess kind of brings everything together with everything that you do, right? Just kind of conclude that for me. Just your studies and your practices on that. Just kind of pitch it to us a little bit. Just anything that you want to say to Black men on top of that. Like, it doesn't even have to do with hypnotherapy. Anything that you want to say to Black men as far as just what they need or what they're going through. What do you say to them to close this out?
So I know that the world expects you to be hard and tough, and a lot of people say I'm expected to thug it out, or you feel judged by the color of your skin, and people make conclusions about you. Might be like you're not competent at what you do, or you have to deal with politics at work, and all of that is a recipe for disaster on some form or level. And maybe it doesn't feel that way right now. Maybe it felt that way in the past, or maybe you can see how that can affect you in the future. And I would say, you're doing a wonderful, magnificent job navigating this world and this life in this country with all of those pressures and with the unique set of stress. And kudos to you for still showing up every day and waking up, or just dealing with it the best way you know how. And I would say that if you do feel like whether your own personal life or just things that you're dealing with from society are bugging you out, know that you have the power to be the eye of the storm, to be your own inner peace, regardless, to have that peace and confidence, regardless of how you think the world sees you, or regardless of what your past has dealt to you, your economic status, whatever it has been. You have the power to transform out of that, and you just have to work with your mind in the right modalities, in a way that a modality healing place that works for you. So find that, chase it, believe in it, and you will have success. Yeah.
What you say? Is your dog a Black man too?
Right.
Is that a boy?
I think he is.
Okay, he's all right. Shout out to you, Black man back there. You know what I'm saying? I know he be getting therapy all the time. Tired of dealing with y'all people every time. That's why I keep walking across the screen, because he's like, you gonna pay me some attention. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. No, but no, man, we really do appreciate your time that you're giving us. Like I said, you took the Monday out of your schedule that you normally have for yourself, and you spent about an hour and some change with us. We really do appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to check her out on the IG, it is on Ashlee B Hypnotherapy, but it's Ashlee like ASHLEEB Hypno. Oh, it's already right there. Okay, yeah, I see it right there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can click on that, click on the link, learn more about her. She has a plethora of interviews with from athletes to entrepreneurs to common folks to people in business and all walks of life, and so you kind of get to hear their stories. You know what I'm saying? But she definitely emphasizes on Black men, and which is very important. You know what I'm saying? Mental health for Black men is very important. Overall, for men it's very important, but we kind of chop down why she emphasizes on that, because there is a problem within the Black community that we have to fix. And we got a lot of work to do, but We do appreciate, people like you. We do appreciate other folks that we may know that have contributed to the black man's pain, to the black man's hurt, to his thoughts. Black women as well, the black family. Just thank you for just spending that time with us. And if you don't mind, just kind of chill with us a little bit. You know what I'm saying? My producer's gonna like single me out where I can kind of close the show. You know what I'm saying? And then when the show's over, man, we'll just close up and just kind of send you on your way so you can get back to doing what you're doing. But I think the people had a slew of questions, so whenever you got time, just go back and look at the comments, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I told you before, they coming. So feel free to answer those comments and stuff like that, and just chat with the people here in Tennessee. You feel what I'm saying? But other than that, thank you for coming through, and just sit tight just for a minute. I'm gonna close this out. All right? Yo. All right, everybody. All right. What's up, everybody? It is now 9:40. Usually we do about an hour and 10 minutes, you know what I'm saying? But, we just kind of wanted to open up the box a little bit and continue the conversation and dip and dive into a few things, man. Really, this conversation, man, and on a perfect day, it could have went like 3 hours or so. But guess what? We ain't got 3 hours of time, all right? Because people got to go to bed. They got to get something to eat, like myself. And I'm tired. I'm T.I. people. But I really want to appreciate you guys for like supporting. We've been on here for 2 years. This is our 5th season. I just want to thank for everybody that supported, the people who have sponsored, the people who have shared, the people who have, come up to me when I'm out and about and just saying how much they appreciate the show or they want to be on it. Like I said, man, just trying to make it a household name in the city. And I think we've got to that point. I'm very excited about that. And thank you guys for tuning in with this guest. And look, as I conclude this, man, I will say this, man, real talk. Above anything else, mental health is really a big deal. Like we don't really, when we say it, it sounds like a cliche thing, but when you're a person who deals with mental health, like myself, and mental issues and trying to deal with certain things, it's a lot deeper than what people think. And the reason why I feel that she emphasizes black men is because it's a taboo topic in the black community. It's something that we don't talk about. Y'all know I've talked about it in my tech talk. I've talked about sexual abuse when I was a child by the same sex for 5 years. That's a mental issue that brought trauma to my life. It still brings a little trauma to my life, and it has brought habits into my life that I've been trying to break for a long time. So it's very important, and we emphasize black is because it's taboo. It's not talked about. We hide it in our closets. Mom and daddy, uncle, sister, brother, they don't want to talk about that. We got to toughen up and just tough it up and suck it up and move on. But that's what creates that angry black man. That's what creates that angry black woman when we finally lash out. Y'all act like y'all don't know where it came from, but it came from within for not having anybody to talk to. So I will say this to my black people and people in general, but if we're emphasizing black people, man, check on your homies sometimes, man. Call them up and see how they doing. Hey, say what's up, what's on your mind, everything good. Check on your sisters. You know what I'm saying? Check on your kinfolks. Just check on your homies that are close to you. Make sure that they're doing all right, because you never know. They may need to talk about something and don't know how to reach out. And it's just a good thing for people to see what's going on. There's the link right there. Her link tree, linktr.ee/Ashlee B Wellness. Y'all click on that link right there, and there'll be an umbrella of things that you guys can look at, and all her services and everything she's offered. So without further ado, people, I really thank you guys for tuning in. Please continue to share, come back and recap this thing. You dig what I'm saying? And if nothing else, I'm your boy, Royce the Voice, Orange Click, Orange Leader. Shout out to K-Team. Speak your thoughts or lose your mind. Holla.